Set my STEEZ going on yesterday. I'm bringing you game 2 of round 10, the Sir Doug Nichols round, also known as Indigenous round. If you don't know, I'm sure you do. The second game will feature Sydney Swans versus Carlton Blues. Coming into this game, wasn't very convincing with the way Sydney's been playing all year, man. They definitely have had their forward issues. I keep saying this. I feel like sound like a broken record, man, saying that same shit over and over and over again. But also just, I feel like the team has just been underperforming all across the board, to be quite honest. Whereas Carlton, coming off a decent win, looked to be getting back to form during a win streak. But Carlton was without Tom DeCone in this game, their ruckman, who top 5 most influential ruckman in the competition. So that was definitely something they have to get around. But they had Mark Pittonet, who has proven to be a pretty good ruckman. And so that will soften the blow for sure, but nonetheless, you know, it's a different chemistry when you have a new ruckman in there. So yeah, there was just a couple changes to look out for. And yeah, man, I think this game, there's a lot to say about this game, bro. Carlton came out pretty hot, man. I feel like they dominated the first quarter. They had multiple inside 50s, very good inside 50s. The ball movement was decent, looked competitive, high pressure. You know, able to neutralize City's key players. They weren't as influential as they ended up being later on in the game. And yeah, it just seemed like Carlton was really up for it, man. This game looked like, you know, pretty much what I would have expected, considering, well, this is Carlton's best footy. Looks really good, and they're very competitive when they are. And City really just wasn't up to it, I think. And really, it's just as the game went on, bro, it's just typical Carlton, bro. Carlton had another fadeaway, late fade, fizz out, whatever you want to call it, man. I think at the end of the first quarter, Carlton was only up like 1 goal, which Sydney was probably lucky that the margin wasn't that high, considering a dominance of territory and just possessions, a general inside 50 count. Yeah, Sydney was doing a lot of defending. Really, as the game went on, Sydney just played better and better and better as each quarter went on, whereas on the contrary, Carlton got worse and worse and worse and seemed to go back into the struggle Carlton that they've been with the ball distribution, with the ball usage, just haven't been dangerous enough with that. And yeah, really, as the game went on, as like the second quarter, it was like still a 1 goal margin, give or take. And I think Sydney did a better job in the second quarter as far as evening up the clearances and the stoppages, and they got better through the center bounce. And you just seen Chad Warner definitely started putting his imprint on the game, and he was a player I was really worried about, because he just has that potential to break the game open. He has the running power, and I feel like a lot of times with Carlton, it's just, you know, they don't have the running power, in my opinion. So if there's like a mid that just is able to break the line, it's just a bit too much for them. It's crazy because Isaac Heaney really hasn't had too much influence against Carlton in the last couple matches that they played, but boy, he went on a tear this game, particularly in the third quarter, bro. But he went crazy, bro. This was a game to remember for Isaac Heaney individually, and yeah, he just went crazy. I think he had like 37 possessions. And if he was a little bit more accurate from the goal, it definitely could have been a legacy game for him, in my opinion. He had like 5 behinds, so he left like 5 goals, even though he had 2. Left some goals on the board, but he was just giving Carlton problems, bro, in the second half especially, man. And it was crazy because in the first half, Nick Blakey is one of the characters, one of the players that really gives gives Sydney a real big boost as far as like running off halfback and the overlap running and being dangerous with his run and his kicks off the run. And you didn't really see too much from him early on, but right when the third quarter, when Sydney made the run to take the lead, I think it was 2 goals back to back that came off the boot of not necessarily a goal, but it was set up by Nick Blakey. And yeah, I think he was influential and pivotal for them to really get going and looking back to their best. I will say Sydney, man, I was saying earlier in the season that Carlton seems to be pulling out the best of other teams. Sydney hasn't looked like this in quite a while, bro. And I'm wondering if Sydney, if they're really back to playing their best footy, man. And they really looked like it. They were really tough to stop. Pressure was just too much on Carlton. Carlton couldn't get much of shit as far as scoring. The scoring dried up in the first quarter. It was definitely like a free-flowing game, good ball movement, high scoring, and then the scoring definitely dried up in the middle of the game, in the middle 2 quarters for Carlton mostly. But yeah, man, I think in the 4th quarter it was just way too much. The game just got out of hand. Sydney just. I can't even remember how many goals they scored. It might be like 5-2, 7-2 that quarter. So it was really just an ass whooping, man. But I'll say when Carlton's losses, you just, in the middle of the game, you can feel the energy, bro. Like, I don't know if you have to be a Carlton fan to feel that, but you just kind of know. It's hard to describe, but you know when this game is an impending loss. As you just see the game slipping away from you, it's just the ball movement is not clean. Like, in the tight context, you can just tell, bro, the energy is just not there. They're not competitive. You just rely back on bad habits, and you just bomb the ball forward, and just relying on the tall timber, bro, that being Charlie Colonel and Harry Mackay. They were looking good early on in the game, but they were getting good. They're having good leads and getting the ball set up to them very nicely. So that's really what the difference was as far as the second half. Just no clean usage, no way to really get their hands on the footy, man. And I will say, even during the struggle moments for Carlton, Charlie made it a point to. Charlie gave it his best crack, right? He was able to grab some marks. Maybe he probably shouldn't have, just because the ball was just being bombed high and wasn't very clean. So I definitely give credit to to Charlie Colonel, especially in the second half, when we really needed somebody to step up, right? Adam Chera was the only player in the midfield I really could say gave it his best crack and could walk out with his head high. George Hewitt is usually one of our most consistent, one of our better midfielders across the whole season, and he wasn't up to scratch. Walsh definitely wasn't up to scratch. Cripps had some goals in the beginning of the game and looked good in the beginning of the game, but his influence definitely diminished as the game went on, and Sydney just really got on top of him. And it's crazy because they didn't even get that many marks inside 50, so they weren't just having the clean ball usage going forward either. It was just the midfielders that were just killing us going forward, bro. Just Warner and Heaney particularly, bro. We just couldn't stop them boys. Them two were carrying them boys, man. It's really just crazy, bro. And I will say, I'm probably gonna sound like a salty Carlton fan, but the umpiring was terrible this game, bro. There was just so much bullshit going on. I don't want to even give Sydney too much praise because I feel like there was just some dirty acts there. It seemed like it was I wouldn't say concerted effort, but it seemed like Jack Savani was getting hit. He got bumped high from fucking Justin McInerney, which looked like some bullshit. Jordan Boyd got hit in the face off of a spoil attempt. I guess that one seemed like it was very incidental as well. But Joel Amarty got Jordan Boyd late too, and that one was definitely intentional. So his first game back, he's about to get rubbed out and be suspended again for maybe 3 weeks. But yeah, I wasn't really happy with seeing how Sydney played. I didn't really respect it at all. I wasn't fucking with that at all. But the umpiring decision was just some bullshit as well. And I'm not saying that Carlton really deserved to win the game, because I don't think they do. Especially how you started and how you ended. Like, the polarity with the team is just so crazy. I don't understand it. But like, Isaac Heaney was rewarded a mark, which wasn't a mark. He had it for like half a second, wasn't a mark at all. It seemed like they adjudicated that just because of the slippery conditions, the wet conditions. They paid it because it was slippery, so let's just give it to him on some bullshit. And to spark a Sydney run, Isaac Heaney again, he was a beneficiary of some bullshit, for real. He tried to dribble kick the ball, then it came off the boot of McGovern, went out of bounds, and they paid it as deliberate, bro, which was some complete bullshit, which didn't make no fucking sense at all to me. And you could tell by how much I'm cussing, that shit just pissed me off, because it didn't really make no sense at all. Yeah, and just not calling the high contact, bro, with the bumps, it just didn't make no sense to me, bro. It just seemed like it was very one-sided. I didn't really like it at all. But I'll go ahead and say that Carlton didn't deserve that game, because they played poorly, didn't have composure, not polished at all. Yeah, bro, it just was way too much. And indicative of the game, like an example, if you want to sum up the game in one play, it was at the end when we had a chance. Harry was in corridor, we kicked it, found him. He just drops that bitch, uncontested, bro. Just drops the ball, bro, which is so terrible, bro. It's just, You can't make this shit up how terrible we are at times, bro. It's just, oh man, we don't look like an 18. When we play our best footy, Carlton, they look top 8 for sure. They look bottom 4 when they play their worst, bro. It just doesn't make sense how you can go from up here in one game to down here. And Sydney just weathered the storm, bro. They struggled early, found their groove, were fumbling. And really in the beginning of the game, it was a lot of slipping over, falling, wet conditions. Nobody could really get anything really clean, to be honest. It was really bad. Not very entertaining game. Sloppy in the beginning, but impressive of Sydney at the end of the game to close the game out the way they did, especially with the sealer by Isaac Heaney, of all people. So, yeah, man, it was definitely, I would say, one of the more frustrating losses from Carlton. And it wasn't even the biggest loss, but it was just considering the team that you went against that hasn't been looking great at all season. And where you went from in the first quarter to where you ended up in the fourth quarter was just completely unacceptable, bro. So it is what it is, man. You got to accept it for what it is. And, I'll be interested to see if Sydney is able to, turn their season around based off that win, because it was a gritty win, big win for them, good win. At the end of the day, they showed flashes of what they could be. Even though the forward problem still was not solved. And losing Joel Marty for another couple weeks is definitely not going to help either. But yeah, I don't think you can rely on midfielders to score all your goals and be one of the better teams if you're just going to rely on them. Warner and Heaney, to be exact, because they had Heaney in the midfield, man, when the game really turned around. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got, man. Frustrating loss for Carlton, good win for Sydney. That's all I got, bro. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube shit, man. Super Saturday coming up. Got a slate of games. Hopefully we get an entertaining footy. And make sure you be there. Yes, Lord.